What's going on, Skill Army? It's the Skillman back to you again. Hey, I just wanted to kind of come in the studio and start a new series. So please bear with me. Understand, I'm still kind of fresh on this thing. I'm still trying to get all this video editing and tell my story. And one thing I want to talk about is for myself. My ultimate goal is really just to continue to have my little digital um, diary for my closest friends and relatives and whatnot to kind of just tap into my lifestyle and honestly just be able to drop some gems or help anyone who can use this information or comes across this information, just like information that's been on out there has helped myself. So um, I am very fortunate to be in a position where I have a little bit more freedom than most people. Um, I don't necessarily have more money than most people, but when you look at the situation, personally, I equate having my freedom well above amounts of money. I've been in situations where I've been offered contracts or opportunities to I guess you say go back to work. FYI, I'm basically retired. I've got a few credentials under my belt as far as whatever. A lot of people like to equate that being a veteran or being 100% disabled, like that's why I'm retired. Now I learned a long time ago it was some serious decisions and serious efforts and serious sacrifice that had to be made in order to escape the so-called rat race that most of us find ourselves in, that we dig ourselves into at a very young age, despite having all the signs and all the things there in life that kind of could keep you out of the rat race. But unfortunately, there's a bunch of factors in place that basically prey on you as an individual to stay in the rat race. I mean, there's just so many examples. You have to forgive me if I'm going to be in different places as far as providing those examples, but I mean, even then, just the whole culture of buy now, pay later is just one of them. And I don't, it's hard to even find. I found that as I escaped the rat race and got out of the buy now, pay later stigma, that I became an anomaly. I became, a one-off. I became in a much smaller group of individuals, and all that eventually equated to freedom, not just financial freedom, but spiritual freedom, uh, financial freedom, physical freedom, uh, mental freedom. It's just overall freedom, which also equates to peace of mind. So I'll try to filter and kind of organize some of my thoughts and kind of get to my point. But ultimately, I just want to basically share how I got out the rat race. Um, First and foremost, I had to not. It's not just about saving money, making more money, or whatever. We have to adopt a whole different mindset. Me personally, um, you know, being caught up in the rat race and having to deal with just even just regular bills like not necessarily living expenses. And I'll incorporate living expenses later, like for example, like electric bills. We all have to, if we're gonna have a roof over our head, we have to pay you know, for our utilities. And if you're gonna drive a car, you have to have insurance. That's not what I'm talking about. And like I said, those things can also be minimized, but I had to adopt a whole new mental strategy. I had to think different. I had to incorporate different ideals. I had to, one of those ideals was the delayed gratification principle. While everyone else was going left, and you might be able to go and finance, I'll use a vehicle for example, and we naturally look at being able to afford a monthly payment on that, and not understanding that it's not equating the monthly payment to the time commitment, the physical commitment, the mental commitment, the spiritual commitment, and things of that nature. What I personally found out in my life is that I had to make a decision. I got kind of over or fed up with um, lack of control of my life. I feel like personally, there's already so many things that happen in life outside of our control. Like Murphy's Law. You can't. I couldn't. I didn't know I was going to hurt my arm, and I had other professional jobs where I thought I was doing really well and I got laid off, or something like that. That's out of my control. But what happens is we're already out of control so much, we basically dig a deeper hole of less control. For example, like let's say you got a great job. You've been on this job even for several years. You feel like you're making good money. So the way our society is set up, being that you got a good job, you might have a good credit score or whatever, it allows you to go and overextend or finance yourself a vehicle, right? But just like we fill out the questionnaire to be qualified to get that vehicle, a lot of that deals with our current situation as if like our job status. Like, okay, so we've already been in this kind of complacent energy or complacent place saying, okay, well, based on me having a job is what determines if I'm able to get this vehicle. And we're kind of under the assumption that we're going to have this job forever or nothing's going to be good, or we'll be physically, in a space where, we can handle this situation. So something comes up and outside of your control, you lose your job, and then you are in a very tough situation as far as being able to afford or continue to make payments on your vehicle that now like say that you owe on or that you financed. And of course with all that causes a lot of stress. And like I said, we've already making this time commitment and things of that nature. So based on little examples and things like that, I just after going through some experiences of getting laid off, feeling the pinch of having to, make, pay bills, that were, that I had relinquished my personal control to, that usually causes a lot of extra stress and pressure on a person's life. And I've experienced those things. So I had to get to a point, like I said, mentally where I didn't want that anymore. So, after a while, I decided, I said, this is an example that I'm not going to finance anything. I'm not going to finance anything at all. Nothing. No house, no car, no furniture, nothing. The normal things that people go and put themselves in a position to finance, I just wasn't feeling it. Part of that, I just feel like, adopting that mentality is like, you got to humble yourself. In my opinion, you got to put yourself like, do you really? Is it a deserving thing? When you really think about it, like, do you want to not have control like we try to control so much? Like, do you really not want that? I just, part of me just said, hey, if I can't pay it outright, if I can't wait for it, I had to adopt, that the delayed gratification, then I don't want it. If there's not a situation where I can not have to, look over my shoulder for it, I'm going to take that route. Most of the time, that route is a lot harder. I use another example, which just tends to, trip me out, about like what I consider like just the predatory lending culture and the buy it now, pay later culture, and just how everything is marketed towards that. You ever notice, like, if you sign up for like a credit agency or something that is intended to restore your credit, and they just it's more really just a modest accountability thing. So you're monitoring your credit is going up, or you're suggesting little things that you do as far as like just your own financial patterns and behaviors to get your credit score up. And as your credit score goes up, all you start getting is a bunch of offers to go in more debt. On top of that, you ever notice that as you get out of debt, your credit score goes down? And I just personally feel like having good credit is excellent. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, maintaining a positive credit history and good credit health, so to say, is a good thing, and it's necessary in our society. So don't let me just get into. I'm just not saying, oh, you gotta have credit or anything, but it's a mentality and a behavior behind having good credit. And most of us, including myself, have been in a situation where, this just because I have the credit, like it's fake. It's like it's credit, but it's not credible. You know what I mean? So And then you feel like you're just in a position. Oh well, they say I can be a good borrower, so great. I'm gonna be I'm a borrower. I just want to borrow. So um, it's just easy to get overextended in that capacity. So they're always offering you more. They want to keep you in debt. And unfortunately, the way debt works is just you're borrowing expensive money. Like the money that you borrow is always going to be less than or more than what you pay, less than what you pay back. So there and you have to have impeccable credit in order to get a percentage rate or 0%, and that's always usually for a predetermined amount of time. So I don't want this particular segment to get too lengthy, but I definitely want to throw out there just some ideas that I had to adopt in order to kind of get out the rat race. And then in each following segment or episode, I'll try to break down exactly what those were. But first of all, I had to adopt a much more healthy delayed gratification mentality. Um, we have to consider waiting a little longer for things in order for us not to be at the mercy of those things or those situations when we lack control. So stay tuned.